Dear students, welcome back to my class. In the previous class, we have started this chapter that is metal carbonyls, and we have discussed the definition and also the type of bonding between metal and carbonyls. And also we have seen the molecular orbitals of carbon monoxide, which molecular orbitals are involved in bonding with metal. And we have seen there are two types of bonds possible between metal and carbon of carbonyls, that is pi bond and a sigma dative bond and a pi bond. Okay, let us see again briefly. So we have seen that between metal is a central metal atom and carbon monoxide is a ligand. In order to form a bond between metal and carbon monoxide, the lone pair that is present in sigma molecular orbital of carbon monoxide is donated and forms a coordinate covalent bond with a central metal atom. The lone pair is donated to the vacant d orbital of metal. Okay, vacant d orbital of the metal. In this way, a dative bond or coordinate bond is formed between metal and carbon monoxide. Carbon monoxide, since a lone pair that is present in carbon is involved in the bonding, this is known as metal carbonyl. See, if you see here, the bond is between carbon and metal, but not median. We are writing like MCO, but not MOC. Okay, so this is a sigma bond. And one more bond is possible here. Why one more bond is possible? When this carbon monoxide donates a pair of electrons to metal, the electron density of metal increases and certain instability starts between electrons in the metal, d orbitals of metal. To stabilize the electrons which are already present in the d orbital, they are donated back to the empty pi star orbital of carbon monoxide. I think we have already seen what is sigma and what is pi orbital. Sigma is highest occupied molecular orbital in which lone pair of electron is there, which is donated to empty d orbital of metal. In pi bonding, pi star orbital is lowest unoccupied molecular orbital in carbon monoxide, into which metal, the uh, filled d orbital, donates electron pair into the pi star uh, vacant orbital of carbon monoxide and forms a pi bond. Okay, it forms a pi bond. This is about bonding between metal and carbonyl. Okay, there are two types of bonds, sigma bond and pi back bond. Okay, this is a sigma bond. This is back bond. Oh, pi overlap. D pi overlap, not pi pi. This is D pi overlap. D from the metal atom, from D orbital, it is giving two electrons to the empty pi orbital. Therefore, it is a D pi orbital back donation to pi star. D pi. Okay. Now let us say we have discussed the type of bonding between M and C. In addition, we have seen only the linear MC bonds. In addition to this linear, the carbon monoxide ligand it also forms bridges. Bridges. This carbon monoxide, it also sometimes it acts as a bridge between two metal atoms. Between two metal atoms means in some polynuclear carbonyls or in binuclear or trinuclear complexes. Sometimes this CO, in order to satisfy the valency of metal atoms, it acts as a bridge between two metal atoms. That bridging is denoted with mu. Here, see here, mu. That bridging ligand or bridging carbon monoxide or bridging carbonyl group is indicated with mu n, where n indicates the number of metals bridge. Okay, number of metals bridge. And we have to know the number of electrons involved in linear type bonding and in bridging bonding. Linear is it is equal to terminal. We will see what is terminal and bridging in the next examples. In case of terminal, the carbon monoxide donates 2 electrons to an empty metal orbital. While in the case of bridging group, when the CO acts as a bridge between two metal atoms, the MC bond, the electrons in the MC bond are shared by one metal as well as carbon. Okay, the bond which is formed here, the electrons that are present in the bond here are shared by one metal, by both metal and carbon, means one electron by metal and one electron by carbon of carbon monoxide. Let us see the type of different complexes they are given here. If we have already discussed that depending on the number of metal they are classified. In the classification we have already discussed. Mononuclear means only one metal atom is there. Dinuclear, two metal atoms. Polynuclear, more than two, more than one. And we also have one more type, that is bridge carbonyl metal carbonyls. Okay, bridge carbonyl metal carbonyls. They are so called if the carbonyl group acts as a bridge between two metal atoms, then they are known as bridge metal carbonyls. Okay. Now let us see the preparation of tetracarbonyl nickel. This is a special metal carbonyl because this is the first synthesized, first discovered metal carbonyl. So let us discuss the preparation and properties of this tetracarbonyl nickel. So let us see how it is prepared first. It can be prepared by passing carbon monoxide directly over the metal, and at a certain temperature we can use a temperature of 60 to 100 degrees centigrade. And one more method is it can also be prepared by directly heating nickel iodide with carbon monoxide in the presence of carbon. And other method is it can also be prepared by passing carbon monoxide through alkaline suspension of nickel sulfide or nickel cyanide. Okay, these are the three methods that can be used for the preparation of tetracarbonyl nickel. Now let us see a few properties of this complex, that is tetracarbonyl nickel. If you see the physical properties, it is colorless liquid and it has a melting point of minus 25 degrees centigrade and a boiling point of 43 degrees centigrade. It is soluble in water, but it dissolves in organic solvents. Now let us see some of the chemical properties of tetracarbonyl nickel. It reacts with concentrated sulfuric acid and forms nickel sulfate. This is a detonation reaction. It also reacts with nitric oxide and gives a deep colored compound. See here, the color of this compound, which is formed after the reaction of tetracarbonyl nickel with nitric acid, is a deep blue color. And next, it also reacts with hydrochloric acid and undergoes decomposition to nickel chloride, See, and carbon monoxide. These are the few physical and chemical properties of tetracarbonyl nickel. Now let us see a few uses of tetracarbonyl nickel. This tetracarbonyl nickel, on heating, it decomposes to metallic nickel. So since it is decomposing to nickel, it can be used in the preparation of nickel. This is mostly used in Mons process. This is mostly used in the production of nickel by Mons process. And this is also used in plating of nickel. It is also used for plating nickel on other metals. And it is also used as a catalyst in the polymerization, for example, in the synthesis of acrylic monomers, okay, in plastic industries. These are few uses of tetracarbonyl nickel. Now let us see the structural properties of few complexes or few metal carbonyls. The first metal carbonyl we will discuss here is tetracarbonyl nickel. Let us see the structural property of this tetracarbonyl nickel. nickel tetracarbonyl, it has a tetrahedral structure or tetrahedral geometry with all nickel carbon bond lengths equal, with equal nickel carbon bond lengths, and it is also found to be diamagnetic. See here, can you see this structure? This is a tetrahedral in shape, and all these distances, there is nickel and carbon distances are all equal, and that distance is equal to 1.5 angstrom. This is a ball and stick model here. Okay, nickel is in yellow color, carbon is grey, oxygen is red in color. Okay, this is a ball and stick model, ball and stick representation of this structure. Now let us see how this geometry is possible. Let us see the hybridization and the magnetic property. If you see this, the structure of nickel, that is tetracarbonyl nickel, it can be explained by considering sp3 hybridization of nickel atom. The structure, what is the structure here? Tetrahedral. The tetrahedral structure can be explained by considering sp3 hybridization, and since it is showing diamagnetism, all the electrons present in the valence shell should be paired in 3d orbital. Okay, now let us see the electronic configuration and the in nickel and as well as in tetracarbonyl nickel. If we take the simple nickel atom here, what is the atomic number of nickel? Why we have taken nickel? We know that metal carbonyls are mostly formed by transition metal atoms. Is nickel as a transition metal atom? Yes, it is a transition metal atom, and it belongs to 3D series of a periodic table. And what is the atomic number of nickel? It is 28. We all know that atomic number of nickel is 28. I have already told you in the beginning of the class that you should know the electronic configuration of 3D elements and their atomic numbers and 3D and their electronic configuration. Okay, so atomic number of nickel is 28. Okay, what is the electronic configuration? It is here, xenon 3d8 4s2. This is the outermost electronic configuration of the nickel. So we will be taking this outermost electronic configuration in discussing the structure of tetracarbonyl nickel. Okay, in discussing the structure of tetracarbonyl nickel. This is how we will fill electrons here. Okay, first we should fill the 4s orbital, 2 electrons, and 3d8. In 3d8, we can see here there are 2 unpaired electrons here in the d orbital. Okay, what happens is when carbonyl ligand approaches nickel, these 2 electrons which are present in the d orbital, they get paired up. Okay, also the 4s electrons also they get paired up in the 3d orbital. Okay, there is a rearrangement of electrons in the tetracarbonyl, in nickel of tetracarbonyl nickel. This is in the normal state. Normal state electronic configuration of nickel is this: 3d8, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 4s2. Okay, but when the carbonyl ligands approaches nickel, what will happen? These electrons, these 3d electrons and 4s electrons, they get rearranged. These 4s electrons also they will be entering into 3d orbital and they will get paired up here. So what will happen now when these 4s electrons enter here? Okay, these 2 electrons, when they enter here, all the 3d orbitals filled now, and 4s orbital is vacant. And what is the next orbital of after 4s? We all know that it is 4p. Okay, what is the next orbital? It is 4p. So how many ligands are there here? How many ligands? There are 4 ligands. And these 4 ligands will be donating a pair of electron to nickel. Okay, a pair of electron to nickel. So how many vacant orbitals should nickel have? 4. Okay, how many vacant orbitals should nickel have? 4, equal to the number of ligands. Okay, that metal should have empty orbitals that should be equal to the number of ligands. Since there are 4 ligands here, metal should have four vacant orbitals. Now 3D is filled, 4s is vacant. What we need? We need only one vacant orbital is here. We need 3 more. Okay, 3 more because the number of ligands are 4. So here only one can donate here lone pair. One lone pair of electron can accommodate here. So we need 3 more orbitals where the other 3 carbonyls can donate their lone pair of electrons. So what is the next orbital of 4s? If you see the energy order, that is 4p. Okay, that is 4p. We all know in p shell there are 3 orbitals. Right here 3 orbitals here. Since there are no electrons here, they are 3 empty. So what is, so do we have now 4 vacant orbitals? Yes, 1 4s and 3 4p orbitals. So we are having 4 vacant orbitals equal to the number of carbonyls or ligands here. So what will happen now? Now that in nickel, this is the electronic configuration of the nickel. This in nickel tetracarbonyl, these are filled, already filled. Okay, these are already filled. Now into these vacant orbitals, now these 3 will get hybridized. These 4s orbital and 3 4p orbitals, they will get hybridized. What is the hybridization now? One S, that is S, other are 3 4p. So sp3 hybridization. Okay, what is the hybridization? 1 4s and remaining 3 are p orbitals. The sp3 hybridization is sp3. So into these 4 vacant sp3 hybridized orbitals, these carbon monoxide, that is the carbonyl groups, they donate their lone pair of electrons that is present in the sigma orbital into the vacant orbital of this nickel central metal atom. Okay, they donate, each carbonyl will donate a pair of electrons. See here, how many carbonyls are there? 4. So 1 2 3 4. Each carbonyl is donating a pair of electron here. Okay, that will enter into this vacant. Now these orbitals are hybridized orbitals. They are no more 4s and 4p. But what they are now? They are sp3 hybrid orbitals. These vacant hybrid orbitals now become these vacant single 4s and 4p, individual 4s and 4p. Now they will become sp3 hybridized orbitals. So we should say vacant sp3 hybridized orbitals here. 4 vacant sp3 hybridized orbitals. This carbon monoxide, by donating its lone pair of electrons that is present in sigma molecular orbital to vacant sp3 hybrid orbital, they will form a dative bond. They will form a dative bond. Okay, see here, carbon monoxide. This is dative bond is indicated with this type of symbol here, arrow mark. Arrow mark is towards nickel because this is donating a lone pair of, this is donating. Therefore, the arrow mark should be towards nickel. Okay. See, this bond results by the overlap between the empty sp3 hybrid orbital on nickel atom and the HOMO of carbon in CO molecule as shown below. Okay, this is about bonding in tetracarbonyl. So these are hybrid orbitals. So what will be the shape of this sp3? What is the shape if the hybridization is sp3? Tetrahedral. Okay, tetrahedral. See here, tetrahedral is shape. We have to write like this, tetrahedral shape. So see the arrow mark here. We have to show the arrow mark like this because carbon monoxide is donating electron to nickel. Okay, it is donating electron to nickel. Therefore, the arrow should be towards nickel here. See all the 4 arrows. The dative bond should be indicated with this type of bond. Okay, with this type of bond. Now let us see the acceptance of 4 electron pairs by nickel in zero oxidation state severely increases the electron density on the nickel atom. Okay, After accepting this lone pair of electrons, this increases the electron density on the nickel atom. So, so according to the electron neutrality principle given by Pauling, the atoms in a molecule share the electron pairs to the extent such that charge on each atom remains close to zero. Thus, the nickel atom donates back some electron density from the filled d orbitals to the low-lying empty LUMO orbitals on CO molecule, resulting into formation of a double bond. So there is a double bond that is not shown here. Since when this CO donates a pair of electrons to the nickel, this increases the electron density here. This I have already discussed in this bonding of metal carbonyl. Again, I am repeating here. This increases what happens here when a carbonyl donates. When a carbonyl donates a pair of electrons to the nickel, the electron density on the nickel is increased here. Okay, see here, electron density on the nickel is increased here. So what will happen now? Electron repulsion starts. Repulsion start. In order to decrease the repulsions, what will nickel do is, you can see the filled orbitals. See here, these are vacant, these are filled by carbonyls. And if you see here, these electrons are already present in 3d orbital. Okay, these electrons are already there in the nickel. So what nickel does is, these electrons that are present in the nickel, it will donate back to the carbonyl. Carbonyl, as we have discussed in the molecular orbital theory of carbonyl, that carbonyl is having empty pi molecular orbital. So these electrons are donated back to the carbonyl into empty d orbital of carbonyl, forming pi back bonding. Okay, pi back bonding. So therefore, in all metal carbonyls, there is a double bond between metal and carbonyl. One is a dative bond, that is a sigma bond, that is formed from by the donation of a lone pair of electrons from carbonyl to nickel, and other is a pi bond that is formed from the filled d orbitals of nickel into the empty pi star orbital, that is LUMO of carbonyl, that is a pi bond. Okay, this is the structure of tetracarbonyl nickel. Okay, I hope you have all understood. Let us see the structure of other molecule. Let us take the example of pentacarbonyl iron. Pentacarbonyl iron. The structural studies have suggested trigonal bipyramidal geometry for iron, for pentacarbonyl iron, and all the iron carbon distances are equal, are found to be between 1.80 to 1.84. So they are not equal. They are found to be 1.80. If you see, we all know how trigonal bipyramidal look. So we know in a plane, the trigonal bipyramidal. As the name suggests, trigonal means in a plane there will be three. It is a plane of like a triangle. Okay, and above and below the plane there is another two bonds will be there, and the whole structure will appear like a trigonal bipyramidal. So these two, those are, if you can see this ball and stick model, you can understand it in a better way. See here, these three ligands are lying in a plane with a central metal atom here. These three, they lie in a plane, they form a triangle. These are known as equatorial ligands, or these bonds are known as equatorial bonds. And the other two carbonyls which are present, this, if you consider this as a plane, the other two carbonyls, one is above the plane and other is below the plane. These two are known as axial bonds, or these bonds are known as axial bonds. Okay, these carbonyls are axial ligands. Okay, these 1, 2, 3, they lie in a plane. These are equatorial and these two are axial. So these three should have, these equatorial bonds should be equal, and that is equal to 1.84, and these two axial bonds should be equal, and that is equal to 1.80. And it is also found to be diamagnetic. Diamagnetic means all the electron pairs, all the electrons should be paired. There should be no unpaired electron. Okay, let us see. Let us discuss this by considering the electronic configuration. Sorry. The structure can be explained using dsp3 hybridization in iron atom. All the electrons present in the valence shell of iron atom get paired in 3D orbitals. Thus, the valence shell configuration of iron in iron CO2 become 3D8 4s0. The CO iron bond results by the overlap between empty dsp3 hybrid orbitals on iron atom and the HUMO on carbon in CO molecule as shown below. First we have to know, you have to know the atomic number and electronic configuration of iron. Since it is a pentacarbonyl iron, okay, pentacarbonyl iron, what is, how many ligands are there? 5 ligands, okay. How many ligands, how many carbon monoxide molecules are there? 5, okay. Therefore, there should be 5 empty orbitals in iron. First, let us see the normal iron electronic configuration. The atomic number is 26, okay. First 4s get filled, then 3D, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So this is 3D6, 4s2. There are no, as I said, when the carbonyls approach central metal atom, the electrons, those are already present in 3D and 4s, they will get paired up, okay. This will jump into the 3D orbitals and they will get paired up, all the electrons in the 3D and 4s. So what will happen? We have how many electrons here? 3D is 6, 4s 2, total 8 electrons. Now fill all the 8 electrons first in 3D orbitals by pairing. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So how many vacant orbitals do we have? Now we have one 3D orbital, another 4s orbital. We have only 2 vacant orbitals here. But how many do we need? We need 5 vacant orbitals. How many we need? 5 vacant orbitals. So we have to consider the subsequent shell, that is 4p. We have to consider 4p. It is having 3 orbitals. So 1, 2, 3. Subsequent 4p orbitals. So 4p is having 3 orbitals. So 3, 4, 5. So we are having 5 empty d orbitals now. So into this empty, now this one d orbital, one s orbital, and these 3 4p orbital, they will get hybridized, form dsp3 hybrid orbitals. So 1d, 1s, 3p. How many orbitals are there? Total 5. That is equal to the number of carbonyls, ligands here. So they will get hybridized and form 5 dsp3 hybrid orbitals. Now we have to say the individuality will be lost here and they will become dsp3. These are d, this is dsp3, this is dsp3, this is dsp3, dsp3, dsp3. Into this dsp3 hybrid orbitals, the carbonyl, this here, carbonyl, it will donate a pair of electron and form a sigma bond, that is a dative bond, okay. Okay, sigma bond, that is a dative bond. So it will get the structure of this one, sorry, trigonal birapiramidal. With dsp3 hybridization, this is a possible geometry, that is trigonal bipyramidal is the possible geometry. This is the Bose-Einstein model. So if you see, if you observe this, all the electrons here are paired up. Therefore, it is diamagnetic in nature. Now, all the electrons here are paired up. Therefore, it is diamagnetic. Okay. So we will stop here and let us discuss the other metal carbonyl structures in the next class. And till now, whatever we have discussed, you have to just practice this and note this in your notebooks. Okay. and also you have to practice. We have discussed two structures today, that is uh, one is this one, tetracarbonyl nickel, and the other one is this pentacarbonyl iron. You have to practice this by writing on a paper. Okay, tomorrow in the next class we'll discuss the structure of other metal carbonyls. We'll stop here. Thank you one and all.